everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary from Mary Matthews Handmade and welcome to day 8 of my Vlogmas 2020. So how are we all today? I am very well, thank you very much. Today's candle is again cinnamon stick, which I think is one of my favourites so far. So I'm liking that one. Very Christmassy smelling here today. Now on this vlog I'm going to be giving you a tutorial and I'm going to be showing you how to make one of my fabulous storage hoops. Now this one here I have divided into 2 pockets and put some of my spare crochet hooks in. So these would make ideal gifts. You could have knitting needles, you could have sewing stuff in here. The one that I'm going to show you, I've put my pens in. I've also made 2 pockets here and I've added this ribbon trim. Now you don't have to do that. If you don't have a sewing machine or you really don't like the idea of sewing, what we could do is just have this pocket just a solid pocket all the way along. If you've got some beautiful fabric, then that's, you don't need to add anything to it. Just have one long pocket here. You don't need a sewing machine at all for that one. You're just going to need 2 lots of fabric, a sewing hoop. I've used a 10-inch and a glue gun. So the glue gun is the essential thing because that keeps it all in place. You can have ribbons to, pretty it up a little bit. So that's what I'm going to show you today. Okay, so I'm going to pop the tutorial in here and then I'll see you here afterwards. So what you would need if you just want to make the simple non-sew hoop, you would need a hoop. The size can be whatever you'd like. Now I'm using a 10.5-inch hoop. Now I've measured the outside, not the inside. Okay, that's very important. Mine is 10.5 inches on the outside. So therefore I've cut 2 pieces of fabric. This lovely house fabric is going to be at the top, and this cream it's a bit musliny cotton. I'm going to fold in half so it's not see-through. I'm going to have that as my pocket. I have cut these to 12.5 inches, so 2 inches wider than your hoop, because we are going to need to fold around. And then you are going to need your glue gun. So that's all you're going to need if you want to make the simple version. I'm also going to show you how I add my pocket dividers on mine. So you're going to need some pins. You're going to need some sort of a fabric marker. So I use an air erasable pen, or you can use some chalk. Whatever you use, it needs to come off. Okay, so I'm going to use my pen, and then you're going to need a ruler or something with a straight edge. I'm also going to be decorating using some ribbons and a sparkly button. So all we're going to do to start with is the fabric that you want for your pocket. We are going to fold in half, so that's double layered, with the raw edges facing downwards. Okay, now if you were doing the simple version, then we would take this to our hoop right now. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pretty this up a little bit. I'm just going to simply sew some ribbon across the top. So I'm going to pin that in place and I'm just going to sew some ribbon across the top of that pocket where it's folded. So I've pinned my ribbon in place, and all I'm going to do now is put a row of stitching along the top, turn around and put a row of stitching along the bottom. Okay, so I can't get so close to my machine when it's on camera, so I'm just going to do that off camera and I'll show you the end result. So as you can see, I tried to stay with my thread in this red part of the ribbon here because I was using the red thread. Now, if you're not too confident about being overly neat, maybe you could just sew along the top a piece of lace, or maybe you can buy those strips with pom-poms hanging down. That will be quite a fun trim to add. Or as I say, you don't need to add anything at all if you don't want to. So the next thing to do is to position the pocket on top of your other fabric. Okay, so mine's rolling up a little bit there. So you want to have it approximately halfway up. So I'm going to use these two houses here just to position mine. You could measure so that you know that you've got it straight, but I'm just going to eyeball mine. So I've got it halfway up. Okay. And I've positioned it nice and straight because in a moment the hoop is going to go over the top. Now, because I'm going to just literally sew down here to make two pockets, but I'm just going to take a couple of pins just to hold the fabric, the two pieces together. Okay, so you could add more if you like. And then what we're going to do with our marker pen, I'm just going to find the middle, and then literally I'm just going to draw a line down here. So I suggest you find the middle going across at the top of the pocket and at the bottom, and then you mark each one, so middle, and then draw a line with your ruler, and we're going to use that as a guide when we're sewing. So as you can see, I've just drawn my line. So this ink should disappear. It may not disappear before the end of this tutorial. It takes a little while, a few hours sometimes, depending on what the light is like. So it's a very dark day here today. It's raining all the time, so it may take some time to disappear, but this will disappear. And all I'm going to do now is, starting up here at the top of my pocket, I'm going to do a row of stitching all the way down. So when I start to sew down here, I'm going to go to and fro a few times. Not only does that knock the thread off, but it does reinforce the top of your pocket, because if you're putting things in and out of here, up here needs to be just reinforced that little bit more. Okay, so forwards and back. And then here we go. Okay, I'm just going to do that again. And then just following that line as well as you can. As I say, mine will disappear, but I'm using a contrasting thread, so you will see my stitch line. If you're not that confident, I would use the same colour as this pocket part here, okay? And then you're not really going to see it that much. Again, at the bottom, I'm just going to go back a couple, forward, and then that's knotted that off nicely. So as you can see, my ink, I was slightly off there, but my ink is slowly disappearing anyway, so that's going to disappear. You're not going to notice that at all. Now, I've moved my pins in slightly, still keeping, so helping for this not to move around whilst we're putting the hoop on. Okay, and then what we're going to do, so I'm just going to have to move that so you can see, is you undo this part slightly and take out the middle. Okay, now the middle goes underneath. You're going to place your fabric over the top. So mine, I can feel mine is around here. And then you are going to position your work to wherever you want it. So you could always put a mark halfway down on both sides if you wanted to be exact. Now I tend to eyeball mine because if you see, I just push. Oops, sorry. I just knocked you then. So you are just going to position the hoop back into place. And you can see as you push it round, you can pull that fabric tight. And then when you are happy with the positioning, what you would want to do is this little bit here, you tighten up. Okay, so you're going to make it so your fabric should have stretched tight. Everything should be in place. You can then remove your pins, and then what I'm going to do is just tighten that up. So that's now nice and secure. I have my pocket exactly where I want it. I've taken my pins out. So now all we're going to do is flip this over. Then we're going to trim the fabric. Now remember what I said, we need to have enough so that we can roll it over, and what I want to do is glue all around the inside of the hoop. So I would suggest that's about 1/2 inch that we need to trim all the way around. So then what you need to do is using your hot glue gun. Now be very careful because you know how hot these get. So I just put 3 or 4 spots on there because this dries very quickly, and then I just hold that fabric down. Again, just be careful. You can feel the heat. I can feel the heat through the fabric, so you don't want to get glue all over the place because you will burn your fingers. I've done that many times. So again, let me show you again. So I'm just going to do a little bit at a time because this hot glue is fantastic, but it does set really quickly, so you can't glue all the way around. So I just go round a little way at a time, and then you can see as soon as you've held it in place, it just sticks really well. So carry on, go all the way around. So what you will have to do where you've got the double layers, you will most probably need to do the first layer first, stick that in place, and then you will need to put some glue on top of that fabric. Okay, and then have another go. Now you might need to do this twice because we've got a few layers here. Now I can see already, because my pocket fabric is thin, the glue is going through, and that's sticking down just nicely. If you've got a different sort of fabric, you might have to do the first layer and then glue the second layer and then the third all the way around the bottom where the pocket is. It just depends on how that's taken. So I have glued all the way around, and once that dries, that becomes more than secure. Now it doesn't look too shabby on the back of mine. Now if I was going to give this as a gift, I would maybe cut out, using the hoop as a pattern, cut out just a natural piece of cardboard, put glue all around the edge, and then just put a piece of cardboard on the back. That way you get to cover up, you know, this bit here where I've sewn my button on, and these edges here. But mine is quite neat anyway, so I'm going to just leave as is. So what I've done is I've just added a ribbon at the top. You could also hang a hangy loop. If you're going to hang this on a hook, what I tend to do is carry mine around with me, so I like them to be a little bit more mobile. But you could put these on the wall, have a hangy loop, and then just hang that on the wall. And then all you need to do is, as I said, I'm using mine to keep my pens in. Just add your pens, and there you go. You've got your hanging storage hoop. So there you go. What did you think? They're not too difficult to make at all, are they? So why don't you have a go? You can ask some questions or leave comments down below. I'd be really interested to see any photographs that you can send me. You can email me photographs or tag me in your social media posts. But I think they would make lovely gifts. I've actually made this one for me and I'm using it over the festive period because it matches, oh I don't know where that is, it matches my pin cushion as well, which will be a tutorial this week, so that one's going to come soon. Okay, so in the meantime, enjoy your day, whatever you're doing. Let's hope for a dry day. And I will see you here tomorrow for Vlogmas day number 9. Bye-bye for now.